a mother, a grandmother, and a teacher, so I get nervous when people hang in doorways. I don't know what it is, you know. Because we're going to get active real quick. Those who are going to get active. And you know what? When you leave here, you should get out, nah, I'm not going to tell you what I saw today, right? No, I'm not telling. Zulu tribe, right? And the great Shaka Zulu, who actually lifted up South Africa, they used to talk, we talk about Napoleon Bonaparte, don't we? Well, what the Europeans used to say about Shaka is that Shaka was really Napoleon of Africa because he was phenomenal. 85,000 warriors. 85,000 warriors in the 1800s. That's a lot of warriors that are going to fight with you in the 1800s. 85,000 warriors. Now, Zulu believe in leave no enemy alive. I've got to be honest with you. I can't lie. I am an Askari, and maybe we're not necessarily talking about death to the enemy, but not allowing them to have power. Now, we're going to take a journey through the history of Africa. And you see, I brought a whole lot of visual aids because I'm that teacher. And after this is over, I really would like you to get up and take a look at some of the pictures, okay? First of all, there is no such person as Tarzan. Tarzan does not exist. There was never a King Kong. I can't stand that movie. No big ape running through Africa. Brought to the Yukon, and no, it didn't happen. Africans have shoes. We live in houses. We're not running around naked through the jungle. These are images that are incorrect. And not only with all of that, we had warriors. There is 142 different combative systems in Africa. 142 different, but Africa is a continent. It is not a country. People didn't just walk into Africa and take the slaves out. It didn't happen that way. They fought. Certain places in Africa, if the people went there, they didn't come back. This is fact. Unfortunately, history sometimes gets things a little twisted. Okay? So I'm here. If you have any questions, ask me. Egypt is in Africa. Egypt is not in the Middle East. We talk about Alexander of Greece, don't we? They call him Alexander the Great. Well, I call him Alexander of Greece. Okay? Do you know it was a woman, one of the great Candaces, and her archers, and her hand-to-hand fighters that made Alexander go, well, you know, maybe I don't think I want to go out here and fight this woman. Because she sat with her armies out in front and said, anytime you're ready, Alex, baby. He turned his armies around and never went into Africa. Didn't do it. Came down around the other way into Egypt, but he didn't go into Ethiopia and those places. He thought about it. So what you see that I have on is just one of many combative outfits. Men, women, and children. Now I brought some weapons today, and you can come up, you can look at them a little bit later. I like to start with this one. I like to talk about the ladies a lot. This is one of my favorites. This is it's 110 years old. This is an actual Angolan, because you didn't behave yourself and you acted out. We are now going to cut your head off later. This is an execution blade. Okay? And the women of Angola, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, were the ones who would use it. You may not be familiar with the Dahomey female warriors. The Dahomey female warriors went to battle. The husbands stayed home and took care of the house. And I have pictures of them also that, later on you can look at them. They selected their husband. In fact, the Dahomey females were so fierce that when they would walk down, the men would drop down head first, face first on the ground. Wouldn't dare look up. So the pictures of Africa, we have to get past the pictures of slavery first. And I'm being very, very honest. Because when we get up here in a few minutes and we practice the Zulu war routines, I want you to understand, and I brought the timeline, there are 212,000 years of African civilization. That's a long time. And this is history. The martial sciences went from Africa into India, from India into China. I'm an anthropologist. I am an urban anthropologist. I am a behavioral scientist. How did we get the Japanese arts? Does anybody know? How did they get to the United States? It was one major fact. World War II. Otherwise, it never would have gotten here. There's a sign in Japan, Japanese, that states in order to be a samurai, you must have a bit of black blood. Now, these are documentations, okay? Please, by all means, Google this up. All right, now, the shield of the Zulu warriors. Africans don't throw spears. If you throw your spear, the lions don't eat you up. That don't make no sense to throw your weapon away. Why do people say Africans so we don't throw no spears? That's another one of them King Kong things. No one's gonna stand over here and throw. The history of capoeira. I'm gonna clear this up in the beginning. We're gonna say it once and one time only. Capoeira came from Africa via the slave trade into Brazil. It came from Angola, from Queen Nzinga. This is a beer mouth here. It has all these different pieces with it. Okay? Yes, it was at one time a bow, but many, many, many centuries ago. Okay? So because of the slave trade, you better not demonstrate you were fighting. So we're going to do that. We're going to do a little. The Jinga was named for Queen Nzinga. She rode out in front, another queen, and defeated the who? The Portuguese, because they were big slave traders at that time. But she had to have a friend. Who did she pick as her friend? The Dutch. She was the first modern monarch ever to use a European power against each other. Not an idea. Because the Dutch didn't like the Portuguese didn't like the Dutch. So she figured out a way how to handle all of that. Okay? Please, I want you to look at it, feel these are real. Okay. Now, one of the hardest things with weapons, which is why I get really upset, is with the machete. These have gotten a bad rap. Can anybody tell me why they got a bad rap? What happened? Jason movies. Halloween. One of the greatest weapons of Africa is used by some zombies. They even did that with the movie. Everybody see the movie The Mummy? They had to drag me out of the movie. Because Imhotep was not a mummy. He was a mathematician. He was a scholar. He designed and built the pyramids. Why they use his name and put him in a box with a bunch of bugs? History twisted. Ask somebody, name me a boxer. First thing some children will say, Rocky! Right. So, with African history, a lot of our artifacts have been absorbed into situations, unfortunately, that have turned out to be negative. Okay? These freed Africa in many situations. Okay? If you like, you can feel the weight.